Welcome to Research Perch from the Massage Therapy Foundation. Short, practical insights into massage therapy research and how it can benefit your practice.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Research Perch. I'm Michael Reynolds, the chair of the Marketing Committee for the Massage Therapy Foundation. Research Perch, as you know, designed to unpack articles from the International Journal of Therapeutic Massage and Bodywork to bring them to you in a hopefully lively, hopefully fun, hopefully easy to understand format that helps you kind of figure out what's going on this site, which is full of awesome research content. So again, that's at ijtmb.org. And the article today that we're talking about is a special one because it is co-authored by our very own Nikki Monk. So we're so happy about that. So the title is a very long title here, so stick with me. It is Adaptation of the Care Guidelines for Therapeutic Massage and Bodywork Publications, Efforts to Improve the Impact of Case Reports. And the authors, again, are Dr. Nikki Monk and Dr. Karen Boulanger, co-authors of this article. So initially I thought, hey, let's throw it to Nikki first to present, and then Ruth spoke up and said, hey, I'd love to actually kick this off. So I'll definitely want to ask Ruth if you would mind starting us off and kind of setting the stage for what's going on in this particular article.
Sure. Thanks. The reason I wanted to be the person to present this article a little bit is that anyone who has suffered through with me, all the millions of ways that I try to represent the Massage Therapy Foundation knows that it's really hard for me to stop talking about case reports. The case report committee was actually the first one in which I was invited to serve with the foundation, and so I really came up and learned about research through our case report contests. We run 2 contests a year, one for practitioners and one for students, and it's just a tremendously important program that we offer. And in the beginning of my work with this, we had a set of guidelines that we published and made available to anyone who wanted to participate in writing a case report that I thought were just really outstanding. I was just really impressed by those guidelines. I found them tremendously easy to use and a great source of information and guidance. And still, we got a gazillion case reports that were just barely functional. What Dr. Monk and Dr. Boulanger have done is they've taken some case report guidelines that are applicable in many other healthcare professions and adapted them to be appropriate for massage therapy. And that required some significant reworking of some issues. And I'm speechless, obviously, because I feel that this is such an important thing for us to bring our profession, and I'm thrilled at this process, and I understand, Nikki, that the care guidelines that you guys have created and submitted has now been basically accepted by the larger community. Can you talk a little bit about that and about what your process was, and especially where the biggest adaptations had to be made?
Okay, so first, to give a little bit of context of where this came from and what the care guidelines are, there are guidelines on how to report different kinds of research. So they have the consort guidelines and others that, how to report randomized controlled trials or meta-analysis and systematic reviews, so that the same sorts of things are being reported on, so that when you get a variety of different pieces, you can at least look at them together and everybody's on the same page. And in the medical community, David Riley and the CARE group got together to put together the same sorts of guidelines for medical case reports, because same as in our practice, things weren't being systematically reviewed. And so case reports are kind of seen as, well, and they sit at the base of the evidence pyramid, right? But as the base, they have the potential to be really, really strong. And especially if you have several case reports that are very similar in nature, and if they are reporting the same attributes of the study, you can then take a series of those case reports and put them together and get stronger evidence for things. And so the whole purpose of in the medical community putting together these guidelines was for that purpose, to make case reports stronger in their field. And Dr. Boulanger is the one who really saw this as an opportunity for our field. And she and I together were working hard to go through their guidelines and pinpoint the pieces that didn't apply to us, because of course there are some things in the medical field that do not apply to us, such as the diagnoses and how those diagnoses were verified and how they were done, and all these different pieces, which is way outside of our scope. We do not diagnose, obviously. So adapting through that, but then also adding pieces particularly that are needed in the massage therapy field. So what this paper does, it's got two big tables in it. The first table is taking the care guidelines and the different components of those guidelines and breaking them down for, here's the pieces that they say we need, here are the modifications. But I think the second and more important for our field table is the second table. And what Karen and Dr. Boulanger and I wanted to do is to provide a resource that as people are putting together their case reports or even their case studies, that they have it sitting side by side with their work, and they can go through this as a checklist and go, okay, I've hit this point, I've hit this point. And we organized it in such a way that did it in the order in which it should be reported in the case report, so that now we can easily go and look at case reports. We know where we're going to find, for example, in the introduction, we're going to see the summary of the relevant literature as it pertains to medicine or other fields within our study, or within the condition, or within the techniques that this case study is looking at. And then in the case presentation, keep it consistent. Let's look at the patient or client information. And we have a whole list of the things that you need to include if it's available in that client information. The assessment measures, the practitioner descriptors. That's the key piece that was missing in the medical case report guidelines. And for us, we don't have a standardized set of education. We don't have a standardized what a practitioner is for therapeutic massage and bodywork. So this isn't just massage therapy. This is also a larger umbrella here. But making sure that the scope and setting in which the practitioner practices is documented, the experience level and the training and credentials of the practitioner that's providing the treatment. And then also pieces about the therapeutic intervention and all the different details that would need to be included in that, the results, how to report those results, and then the things that you need to be including in the discussion session. So it's while the article in and of itself is very informative and very well written and interesting, no bias here at all, the table 2 is the real take-home applicable piece. I think that is the most important piece for folks. And like I say, I just want to say that this is adapted from the care guidelines. Dr. Boulanger and I are working to get an official extension of the care guidelines to include therapeutic massage and bodywork. It's a process that takes quite a bit of time. But there are some folks who have already looked at adapting this. So I believe that the Upledger Institute is interested in utilizing this now. So all the case studies and case reports that they require their practitioners to do for certification will be asked to follow these guidelines. So here again, and this is really important potentially for craniosacral therapy research, if you will, because there's not, well, you think massage therapy research, there's not much out there. There's even less out there for craniosacral therapy. And here they have all manner of case reports that are being written and that could potentially be published. And now that they have a really serious set of guidelines, I think it positions them to be better able to get their case reports published and out in the scientific literature.
Yeah, it sounds like this really obviously improves the quality of case reports.
And that is the intention of this paper, even in the title. Yeah.
And we have discussed case reports in the past, so just to kind of recap, I want to make sure I help kind of bring it back to and connect the dots. A case report, let me see if I can define it. You can tell me if I'm wrong. I'm sure I'll get it wrong. But a case report, an example of a case report might be a massage therapist making an observation with an individual and then reporting on those findings. There's more details I know, but in a general sense, do I have that right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sure means maybe I'm close.
Well, it depends on where else you're going to go with this definition, but continue.
Well, I'm not going to try to go any further.
Okay. But
I
yes.
just want to say that, you said it's at the bottom of the research pyramid. So there's obviously more building blocks that go on top of that. But
Sure.
it sounds like, again, what you're doing is and again, I think our last podcast, I'm going to go ahead and jump back, and I think I coined a term about maturing the maturity of the profession. So this is one of those instances where the work you and Dr. Boulanger are doing is helping to add to the maturity of the profession. Is that kind of
yes? Yes, and I think what it's also doing is giving a tool to practitioners who don't necessarily have training in scientific writing,
Exactly.
training in publication, and really these are the folks that are informing this base of the pyramid, and people aren't writing the case reports. They're not writing the case reports, and they're not, and even if they are writing them, they're not getting them published.
So you're equipping massage therapists with tools to do this, even if they're not research experts.
Yes, and I'm also an advocate of finding writing partners. I've done editorials on this, and I've done several other pieces on this. Find a writing partner with these guidelines and the interesting, fascinating work that practitioners are doing in their practices and in their clinics. These are some of the tools now I think that they can really make a splash and an impact on the field by sharing these wonderful pieces and getting it out there.
Excellent. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I want to point out that the IJTMB, which is the publication that brings us together for these research perches, is one of the peer-reviewed publications that is delighted to publish case reports, and they don't have to be part of the foundation's case report contest. They can be completely freestanding and individualized, and that removes any kind of contest rules about how many sessions there have to be, or who your advisor is, or anything like that, or having a writing partner. But even if a person doesn't want to go, wants to do a case report, wants to create tell the story of what happens between them and their client as their client moves towards specific goals. If getting peer reviewed and making it into publication isn't necessarily a big goal, there are other options. This the table that Nikki's been talking about, and the checkoff list to make sure that the absolutely critical pieces of information are present, that can be used to put up a case report on Case Re3, which is referenced in the article, an international database of case reports that don't necessarily have to go through peer review. And it could also help you turn your case report into a really great poster to show at any kind of professional meeting. The end result is not always necessarily to get into publication. It's not everybody's cup of tea. It's preferable for us because that's what allows us to to have a credible thing to refer to. But using these guidelines as we think about how we want to document and support the work we do with our clients is only going to make us stronger and better practitioners.
Yeah, it's a great building block. Yeah.
Well, I want to add something here. And so while publication isn't everybody's cup of tea, I want to put the piece in there that it's critically important for the publication, because you've got to think about the audience. Who is the audience? It's all fine and good for practitioners of massage to see the wonderful case reports that we do. And it's even better if other communities see that. And other communities are not looking in our trade journals. They are not, so our trade magazines and our circulars, and they're not looking on Case Re3. They're going to PubMed, and they are putting in massage and fill in the blank, a condition. When they've got a patient in their room who says, I've got this issue, what do you think? Should I go see a massage therapist? And if they can't go, and somebody now says, I've got this pain in my knee, should I go and see a massage therapist? And right now they can go in and put lateral knee pain, massage therapy. And there's a great case series out there right now that's going to pop up that's very applicable to our field, that really highlights the benefits of massage as it's practiced. And a physician can say, yes, this patient, you should go and check this out.
It started as case reports that were strung in a line as a case series.
Right. And so I'm a big advocate of, it may not be your cup of tea, and figure out a way to do it anyway, and figure out how to get it published. And here's where the writing partners and things like this come into play. You've got this guideline, you've got this checklist that you can start putting these pieces together. So it's great to do case studies and case reports as an exercise, and for it to make a more monumental splash, if you will, in the field and be better for the field, it does have to get into the peer-reviewed literature.
Yep.
So there's my soapbox.
That example you gave is a beautiful example of how of creating demand for massage therapy. That example you gave right there is an example of literally creating demand for massage therapy in the marketplace, which obviously benefits all massage therapists.
Yes,
So
and for researchers like me too. Now I have a little bit of an in. I'm a massage practitioner as well, so I know some things. But for other researchers who are maybe looking for a non-pharmacological intervention to research in addition to something I'm already doing, and I put in phantom limb pain, for example, there is nothing going to come up for massage therapy and phantom limb pain right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a little bit. There's this. I just finished an article on this. So
on phantom limb pain and massage therapy in the peer-reviewed literature.
Oh, I'll get you links if you want.
In the literature?
Yeah.
I need to see that because it wasn't there. Was it there 3 months ago?
Yeah, we'll talk.
I'm sure
Okay,
we'll come back to that if you
All right, this is recording. We've got to go.
Yeah, we got to go. But, again, I love the example you gave, Nikki. That's, again, a great example of how the work we do in research here creates demand in the marketplace for massage. So that's fantastic. So we got to wrap up for now, but thank you both, as always, and thanks, everyone, for joining us. Just a reminder, these articles come from ijtmb.org, which is the International Journal of Therapeutic Massage and Bodywork. We encourage you to go subscribe. It's free. And again, click below if you're watching, and you'll have the link is right there to download the article if you're listening. Please keep on listening. We appreciate that. Definitely go to the website, grab the full text. So, Nikki, Ruth, thank you so much for joining us today. Pleasure as always. And thank you to all of our viewers and listeners. Thanks. Have a good day. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Research Perch. Please send feedback or questions to perch@massagetherapyfoundation.org. See you next time.